everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dorka. Today's video is a video that I wanted to do for a long time, but I needed time to sit down and get some research and get my thoughts together. So I was like, maybe I'm going to wait a little bit more to post this video, but I will get everything clear and done. So what today's video is about, you'll probably know from the title, but I would like to talk about the word overthinking. This is a problem that some people know that they have this problem, some people don't. But don't worry, because I made 4 sections for today's video, how I'm going to be building up this video. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about what overthinking is, give you a basic definition, or just like you know what I'm talking about. Secondly, I'm going to talk about what causes overthinking, because there can be many causes. Third one is going to be the symptoms, so you maybe realize that, oh my gosh, I had this problem, I didn't know what was it, and then you realize, wow, I'm an overthinker. And the fourth one is going to be how to heal from it, or how to prevent. Before I jump into this video, I would like to say that I'm not going to read Google, I'm not going to read any medical paper, I'm going to use my experiences, because if you want to know something, you can Google it. But as an overthinker, I would like to give you my experiences, so maybe you know how to cope with them. If you researched on Google and you found nothing, I can try to help you to tackle this problem, because it is known that overthinking kills happiness, and I just want you to be happy. So let's jump into this. As a definition, I'm going to use Google, because sometimes I don't even know how to form this statement. So I'm just going to read the definition from Google. So if you Google what overthinking is, you get this sentence. Think about something too much or for too long. This is true, but you might ask, okay, why this is a problem that I think too much or that I think too long? When you think about a happy memory or a happy thing, it's not a problem that you think about it every time. For example, you had your wedding and you think about it. Of course, that's a good thing. Or you passed an exam and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. You think about it. That's another good thing. What our problem is, when something bad happens, you think about it too much. Or when something hasn't even happened, you're already thinking about it because you overthink it. Let me start with an easy example. Let's say you texted your friend and she hasn't responded. Some people be like, okay, maybe she's busy, maybe she studies, maybe she went out with her family, stuff like that, just normal things. And the overthinker is be like, oh my gosh, what if she got into an accident? What if she was kidnapped? What if she is depressed and crying in her room? And you start to create situations in your own head that hasn't even happened. Because basically, every time I overthink, I either choose one situation that hasn't even happened and I overthink it, or I choose one situation that happened, but I have a different approach to that problem than other people. For example, let's say I went to work, and when I said goodbye, I said bye-bye to my friends at work and to my colleagues. And on my way home, I was like, oh my gosh, I really said bye to my boss. Like, I didn't say goodbye, have a nice day, like the right protocol, but I said bye-bye as to the whole group, which included my friends and my boss. And on my way home, I was thinking, oh my gosh, he must hate me. He will fire me by the time I get home. I will get an email. Okay, thank you so much for your work. It was nice working with you. Bye-bye. Using the same method as I said goodbye, it would be really ironic. And I was so stressed. Oh my gosh, how could I say bye-bye to my boss? Of course, I didn't say bye-bye directly to him. I said to the whole group. But I still felt like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. So I was overthinking. Of course, I still have the job. I didn't get fired. So it was an overthinking. But imagine, I went home. It took me an hour to get home. I was overthinking. When I got home, I was just sitting on my bed, be like, Oh my gosh, I said bye bye to my boss. That took 3 or 4 hours out of my day that I didn't spend with something that I like. I didn't spend it with people. I spent it alone overthinking of something that happened, but I created some future ideas. The second type that I would like to mention as an example is when something hasn't even happened, but you already overthink it. For example, I applied for an Erasmus program in my school and I submitted all the documents. I received my points, but I still don't know whether I'm accepted at a university in a foreign country or not. I know my point. My point is not good or not bad. We don't know what is good, what is bad, because this is our first time applying for something like this. So, I have a point, a total point of all the submitted documents that I did. And I start thinking, okay, what if I don't get accepted? It hasn't happened yet because I still didn't get the email whether I got accepted or not. But I'm already overthinking, oh my gosh, if I'm not gonna get accepted, I will stay here at Hungary, my parents will be disappointed at me, my boyfriend will be disappointed at me, and I start to stress myself because, oh my gosh, what if I'm a failure and I don't get accepted? In the meantime, the situation hasn't even happened yet. So I create situations in my head just to stress myself. So I would like to jump back after we defined what overthinking is and in which situations it can occur. I would like to give you guys some causes, because if there is a problem, you always have to find the root of the problem and then you can eliminate it. Why? Because if there is no root, then the tree won't grow, right? So every time you have a problem, try to find the root. And the root in our case is going to be a cause. So, what can be the problem? What can cause overthinking? The first, I think this is the most common, is stress. Again, I'm not using any type of Google, I'm not using any type of medication, I'm talking about experience. Stress is something that people have to deal with every single day. Why? Because you go to school, you work, you have to pay your rent, you need to feed your kids. A lot of things can put us under stress. Stress is something that it's really hard to cope with. And when you stress, you start overthinking. Why? Because I stress at work, I need to do my job well, so I'm not going to get fired. And under stress, I said bye-bye to my boss. So I was under stress. Stress is something that will cause overthinking many, many times. Second, your lack of self-confidence. For example, I said bye-bye to my boss. Why? Because even though he's my boss, we have a good relationship. We sometimes talk about not work-related things like, how are you? How was your exam period? Stuff like that. Of course, I'm not saying we are friends, but saying bye-bye to him was not the end of the word. I had lack of self-confidence and I was like, oh my gosh, like I messed it up. While people who have self-confidence would be like, okay, we're good. It's not a big deal. Next time I might apologize. Stuff like that happens. First, you need to be in peace with yourself and stop those thoughts, especially if they haven't even happened yet. Why would you put yourself under the stress 2 times when once it hasn't even happened? Explanation. I'm stressing that I won't be accepted to any university. Why am I stressing when it hasn't happened yet? For example, let's say it happens. I get an email. Thank you for your application. Unfortunately, you are not accepted. Have a good day. Then I can start stressing about it and finding a solution. But now, when I'm still waiting, why would I stress myself? Why would I be thinking about it when there is no literal fact or evidence that the thing happened? This is what I think people hardly manage to do, because sometimes overthinking can eat our minds and we are not able to stop thinking we are not able to help it. And lack of self-confidence can come from things. For example, family, friends, school, bad childhood, bad experience, stuff like that. But overthinking should always stop right when you think about something that bad happened. You don't care. What happened in the past happened in the past. You can't control it. You can't go back in time and be like, sorry boss, I meant to say goodbye instead of bye-bye. What you can control is the future. For example, I said bye-bye to my boss when I should have said goodbye, have a nice day. So next time I go in the meeting, I say, hi boss, sorry, I said bye-bye last time. I didn't mean to say that. I wanted to say goodbye and have a nice day. See, you can control the future, but you cannot control the past. So why stress about the past? Why stress about something that already happened that you cannot control? And why shouldn't you focus on the future, which hasn't happened yet and you can control? See? Now, we established what can cause overthinking. Stress, lack of self-confidence, bad childhood, even if your parents are overthinkers or anyone in your family. Unfortunately, that you cannot really ignore and cannot really change. Again, why? Because it happened in the past. So let's talk about the symptoms. The symptoms can be, if you're alone a lot, I think overthinking happens more. Because of course, when I'm with my friends, I don't think about stuff that happened in the past. But when I go alone and I'm like, what happened today? What was good? What was bad? And I realize, oh my gosh, I said something that I shouldn't have. And of course, you're like, oh my gosh. But if you're always alone, you will be more likely to overthink. So the symptoms can be, of course, sitting alone and thinking. If you think a lot, you will be tired. Just stop thinking. Just start enjoying your life. Just start living your life and find the good moments of your day, not the bad ones. So if you have a bad memory from Monday, you have to be like, okay, but what were the good ones? And you will immediately stop overthinking of the bad thing that happened. Second symptom is probably headache. Why am I saying that? I usually have a headache every time I overthink. Why? Because I create situations in my head that I shouldn't have. And of course, that is going to train my mind. It's like writing a story or solving a mathematical problem. You need to start thinking about something that hasn't happened yet in order to solve the problem, in order to write a story, or in order to overthink. So if you have a headache, it doesn't mean that you're an overthinker. It can be weather, it can be sickness. But if you've been thinking about something for hours and your head starts hurting, you're probably an overthinker. The next symptom that I would probably define is basically negative thoughts. Why? Because if you focus on a negative thing, you will have negative thoughts. It's the law of attraction, which means if you think about good things will come. If you think about bad things will come. So if you overthink a lot, you probably attract negative thoughts, which will lead to negative thinking, which will lead to a negative life. So if you realize that, oh my gosh, I see the bad in everything, I think about the worst all the time, then you're probably an overthinker because you attract negative thoughts. The last one that I experienced in myself as an overthinker is that I cry a lot. I don't cry nowadays, but back in the time I used to cry a lot. If you cry a lot, it probably means that you want to release the stress coming from overthinking, or you want to make everything easier by crying. Trust me, that's a good solution, because every time I cried, I felt the tension was going out of my body. So if you cry a lot, maybe you need to figure it out why you're an overthinker and how you can help it. And now I'm going to be jumping into the last section, which is about helping an overthinker. So what helps me is usually I put on music. Because when I put on my favorite music, I stop thinking and I start singing. I forget the problem. Or distract yourself. This is the key. Distract yourself so you don't have time to overthink. Study, find a new hobby, sing, do music, watch series, I don't know, whatever you like, but distract yourself. Because if you're just sitting in your bed and be like, oh, what have I done? It's not gonna help you, because you will keep going back to that exact thing. But the aim is to distract yourself so you won't be thinking about that thing over and over again. Of course, therapy can also help you, but as depression, overthinking has different levels. And if you're at the bottom like me, I don't think you need a therapist. All you need is basically to distract yourself, to be surrounded with people who are not overthinkers, who can help you, who can ease your mind, or read books, watch movies. As I said, find something that you like, because distraction is the first thing helped me cope with overthinking. Talking about your problems with your parents, friends, boyfriends or girlfriends, or a therapist can help too, because when you talk out loud, you realize, how dumb was I thinking that I made this mistake? It's not even a big deal, but you need to say it out loud for yourself to realize, I'm overthinking about a thing that is stupid, that has no sense, that makes no sense. Wow, I wasted hours for what? For nothing. So if you're an overthinker, I hope that these tips helped you a little bit, and I hope that you're okay. I hope that you're not an overthinker, because I know how painful it can be to create some scenarios in your head. I really hope you guys are having a great day and a great week, and I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye!